because we're tired of being unemployed and underemployed. We are tired of only having to engage in sex work. We are tired of being your outreach people and your peer navigators making $10 to $12 an hour. We are tired of fighting for our country on foreign soil and then being told that we are no longer fit to serve. We are tired of our murders going without any justice and our murderers out there free. We want to be free. And that's why we are here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alexis Sanchez. My pronouns are she, her, and ella. I'm the Director of Advocacy and Training for the Sacramento LGBT Community Center, who is one of the groups that are organizing the National Trans Visibility March here in Sac this year. We're one of the satellite cities, and I'm so excited. We're working in combination with TQIC, the Gender Health Center, the Trans District in San Francisco, and a ton of other groups in Northern California that just are out there doing the really great work of meeting the community and, getting community the services they need. So I want to invite everyone who is in California, West Coast, neighboring states to come join us this Saturday for our Satellite City March. We're going to be meeting at Crocker Park in Sacramento. I believe that's 2110 O Street. I might be misremembering that, but you can just search Crocker Park in Sacramento from 10 a.m. To 2 p.m. So we're going to be going at the same time as all the other marches, and we're going to be participating in all the events that are happening virtually. So make sure that you tune in to our Torch Awards and tune in to, all the great events that other cities are putting on throughout the week. So with that, I just wanted to introduce our panelists. We're going to be doing a panel today on safety for trans and gender nonconforming youth in unsupportive households. I think for a lot of TGNC folks, this is something that we had to maybe deal with. I know it's something that I had to deal with, and it's really near and dear to my heart. So I really can't wait to hear from all our panelists just about some of the strategies that they use to stay safe and just hear their own stories. So with that, I look forward to the rest of this panel.
Hi, everyone. Hi. I think we have one more folk coming. Well, just to introduce myself, my name is Judah. My pronouns are he, him, or just my name. And I am the director for the Trans and Queer Youth Collective, TQIC. And these are some of my fabulous youth who have agreed to come have this conversation with us today. So I'll let you all introduce yourselves. Mas, you want to introduce?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Moss, and my pronouns are they, them, and I'm in California. I used to live in Sacramento, but now I'm down south.
Thank you for joining us. Cora?
Hi, my name is Cora. I use any and all pronouns. They, he is preferred. I used to live up in Oregon, and then I moved down to Sac, and I am very grateful to be here to help out any people who are not in a safe environment.
Thank you so much. So, this conversation is just going to kind of be like a fluid conversation. I do have a couple of questions, but I'd really just like us to talk about how we keep ourselves safe. As a trans person myself, I've had to deal with a fair amount of, not feeling safe in different situations around families. And, as a young person, I can definitely understand how much harder it must be. So I guess one of my first questions is, what does support even look like for you?
For me, support looks like, number one, respect. And that's a very big, broad term, but respect for me starts with boundaries. Starts with knowing the person, whether it be a little or not, or not a lot at all, a little or a lot. But if there's anything you need to do with them, or just talk to them, ask for their boundaries, ask if this is okay to say, ask if they're comfortable with this kind of joke, things like that.
The way I see support is when someone is respecting pronouns, asking like, how do you identify, like making sure they have everything down correctly, similar to what Moss does is their boundaries, and just make sure they understand like where you're coming from and you understand where they're coming from, and just asking like how they can support you is just another thing as well, because some people don't always know like what they need or not.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot about boundaries, and I'm curious, I guess, how you establish and maintain those boundaries. I remember being an under 18 youth and not feeling like I had the ability to keep boundaries with my family members or even make boundaries because I didn't have the power in the situation or things like that. So I'm curious how you all go about making and maintaining those boundaries.
I think it really depends on the person. If, for example, if I'm meeting a new friend in school that I haven't met before, I'll tell them my name and pronouns and ask for theirs. And if, we start having a conversation, if things come up that I notice are like red flags or things that could be bad if I don't bring them up now, I'll bring them up. And, I'll say like, hey, that word makes me uncomfortable. And I'm okay with these kind of jokes, but just don't make them that often, stuff like that. And if they're not willing to respect that right off the bat, then that's not a good friend for you.
Similar to Moss as well, red flags are an important thing to look out for. You always want to make sure that you and the other person are comfortable about whatever you're talking about, addressing, and such. I forgot what the question was. I'm so sorry.
No, you are totally okay. So I think the question mostly was around like, how do you make and maintain your boundaries with family and friends?
You want to address things personally, I believe, instead of over the phone. But if over the phone is safer for you, then that is definitely recommended. But you always want to make sure they understand where you're coming from, and if they don't, just simply explain, if you would not like me to bring it up again, that is fine, but I do ask, like, you respect my pronouns, you respect my name, etc. And if they don't, then maybe just try to not um, engage with them until like they're at a better spot to understand, just for your own safety.
Yeah, I really like that. One of the things that I know has come up for me in my transition, and I transitioned a lot later in life, but one of the things that has come up is a lot of questions around my transition. And I even as an adult with my family have had a hard time figuring out like what are okay things to ask about and not okay things to ask about. How have you navigated that in your life with your family of like what are okay questions and what are like you need to go research on the internet questions? Not my business to tell you.
Yeah. I would. Yeah. So that's definitely a prominent thing in my family, even though it's just my mom now. Um, there are things. She's very much well educated from comparatively to most other adults, whether they know about the LGBTQ plus community or not. Um, and so she's very much an activist for those things, and for the and for that, I there's a lot of things that I've explained to her in the past, and if it gets to the point where like I either can't answer some sub question of the question, or I just straight up don't know what she's talking about, I would say, hey, I don't know how to answer that. Please look it up. And to be completely honest, for a lot of adults, that is seen as disrespect, and I could not tell you why. But they see that bluntness as a sign of disrespect. I'm autistic, and oh my gosh, my tone is such a big deal for them. Because I'm very direct. I'm like, I don't know the answer, please look it up. And that could be really tough. So I definitely be careful and know who you're talking to and know how you want to phrase it. And that might require some emotional effort and masking.
Yeah. For me, what I did is before my mom started asking questions, because she did start bombarding me with questions, I did get some info from like school counselors, from personal counselors, or just people who are able to like print out things. And I gave her some folders about trans queer youth so she could kind of figure it out. And after she read them and like went over them, then I started answering questions. And when she started getting confused or just upset about it, I would ask her to like calm down, and then I would explain like the point of views in different situations and just how it works. But the best thing to do is try not to escalate things and just try to keep a calm conversation, because once again, this is about safety.
Yeah, and safety is at the heart of it. And especially I think when again there's like that power imbalance, like always going back to that, like understanding the power imbalance that may or may not be there, but most typically is. And as a parent, I can say I try really hard not to have that with my kids, and sometimes it just happens anyway, and it's really uncomfortable. So I hear that.
Yeah, another thing for like addressing questions like that, if it's spontaneous, like they're just asking on the spot and you don't know the answer, I would just try to convey in like a way that would, again, work for them. Is just like, I will come back to you. Like I don't know the answer to that myself, but I will look that up. And just like whenever you get the chance, don't procrastinate. Just like really quickly, just like look it up on your phone or something. And then if you want to, if it's a big answer, I recommend writing it down like on a Google Doc and just getting your just thoughts spewed out there, and then you can like say it to them if it's like a big answer like that, if for a complicated question. But if it's something simple, just like quickly look it up to the side and be like, I don't know. And then it's okay to not know. Like even that's very important. Just because you are LGBTQ plus or autistic or anything does not mean that you are gonna know everything, and that takes years to learn. I'm still learning, and I've been out for like 3 years.
Yeah, if you're trying to give information to a parent or a family member or even a friend about how you identify, and they start asking like questions you are like not fully educated on, it's okay to let them know, hey, I'm still learning about myself, I'm still learning about like my sexuality and about other things. And like it's always good to like put it in a kind way, even if it's not how you want to respond. Um, you just want to be able to convey like what is going on and how you feel about it and what you know, so that they can also get a better understanding.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of like the labor kind of falls on you as the youth to direct the conversation. And we're talking about safety, and so I can see how that is a safety mechanism, right? Like to keep you safe. But if you could tell somebody who maybe was on the other side of it, what would you tell them that you need in order to feel safe and not put so much of the labor on you?
I think that depends on their relation. Can you give me a scenario of like, is this my parent or?
Yeah, let's say like your parent or your uncle or your aunt, somebody who's like maybe fairly close to you. Obviously everybody's familial relationships are different, but let's assume in this scenario that it's someone that you're either close to or you have to interact with because that's how your family rolls.
Oh, um, so when you're on that end, the best thing to do is either like ask them to like actually like research things and like get answers, and they could even reach out to other LGBT people in the family or just people that they know if they do. Um, I'm sorry, I keep spacing out on the questions.
No, that's totally okay. This is a safe space to have those kinds of conversations and space out when we need to. Mostly I'm just kind of wondering, like, what would you want other people to do in order to help maintain your safety, like other family members?
Having them like understand the situation I'm in, like from different point of views as well, like what's going on personally as well, so they know like what to do and how to help with that information. Say I'm talking to my aunt and like my mom is just like not in a good mood. She doesn't want to address anything and she's just like she's really confused at this moment in time. I would go talk to my aunt to see if she could give me any tips on how to stay safe or anything like that. Um, sorry. That's all I got.
Yeah. And something that I'd say is for those who use multiple sets of pronouns or any pronouns, or maybe your preference switches daily, or semi-daily or anything like that, and it's not really negotiable for you, like for your mental health. Like if they don't use my pronouns this day, the right ones, it's gonna really affect me. That I've been there before, and my parents have a really hard time with that. And now I just use they them. But in the past, what I've noticed is good and helped me, even though they struggled with it a little, is really enforcing them kindly to ask questions every day. I really need them to ask me if they're unsure, like, what are your pronouns today? Or something like that. And since they may be uneducated, it may sound like, so what gender are you today? There's nothing you can do about that. Just say it's she, her, it's they, them, z's, them, he, him, whatever, And slip ups are gonna happen, and it sucks. But they're learning. So as long as they're trying. It's a step forward.
It's also good to have like talk to them about checkups, like, hey, how are you feeling today, or hey, do you have any specific pronouns? And if they don't, just ask if there is anything they prefer, and if they don't have anything, then that's you just go with whatever, I guess. But it is good to have like checkups and make sure that people um, who are checking up on you understand what is going on. Just kind of get that down, because daily checkups, like Moss said, are very important in case someone does like have different pronouns. Daily, bi-daily, weekly, etc. It's always good to check in. Like even with friends and stuff, just be like, hey, could you make sure to ask me like what pronouns I'm using today before you like address me to me. So I do think that is a really good idea.
Thank you. So now I'm kind of thinking about maybe folks who can't come out because of the environments. And I'm wondering, like, this is a series of questions, but I'll just start with the first one. Like, what recommendations do you have for self-care for somebody who maybe isn't ready or able to come out?
The best things I can say for self care is some people may be able to do this, some people may not be. If you have a private space that you can go to and are safe in for like certain things, you could try doing voice practicing to try and deepen or um, heighten your pitch and everything. Doing voice practice is something that can really help you as well. Doing confidence boosts in the mirror as well, like just saying like I am valid, I am a boy, girl, etc. Like this is me and that is okay. Just kind of like hyping yourself up to make sure like you know that you are valid. Once again, do this in a safe space, like a bathroom, even a public bathroom if that's all you have access to. That's good as well. Just make sure you keep reminding yourself, like, I am okay. This is me, and that's okay. People won't agree with that. That's fine. Um, I definitely don't want to encourage like aggression because I have done that before and it was never um, healthy or purely safe for me. So try to avoid aggression when it comes down to it. You may feel like very upset and very just sad or like angry at the fact that people are just disrespectful, but in order to remain safe, it's always good to try and calm yourself down and just remind you like that is okay. They don't respect that. I can't do anything about it at this moment in time.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. I have a couple things for that actually. One is of course the voices thing. Practicing pitch safely is good. There's a lot of videos on how to safely do that. Also, if you are able to or have any access to, like you're able to buy clothes or anything, or take some of your friends' clothes, having a little bag, like duffel bag or plastic bag in your closet hidden away, for when you like want to put like for those gender affirming clothes, or items or anything is a great idea. Also, if you're in school and you have like a pretty a, a biggish backpack, you can keep a change of clothes in there that's gender affirming and wear those. And if you can, and if you your parents will be suspicious about why they're wearing this article of clothing, you could just change out of it before the school day ends. And yeah, there was something else I was gonna say.
While you remember it, is it okay if I speak?
Yeah.
Another thing with the clothes is some parents are okay with you getting clothes that don't seem very feminine or masculine for whatever you were assigned with at birth. But in some cases, you can get like hoodies or just graphic T-shirts that are just kind of more in the middle. Like I'm wearing a graphic T-shirt right now, and this could go either way depending on how I identify. So just getting some gender neutral clothes would help as well, even if it's not what you want. It can help. As for keeping those clothes in a safe place or hidden, depending on your situation, you can do your own laundry. That way you can make sure the clothes you need to wash get safely washed without your parents going through them. Putting them away, the best thing I can recommend is, because it's more of a personal drawer, the underwear and socks drawer, you can hide like some t-shirts, even a binder, packers, bras, etc. under that stuff, since it is more personal stuff and it's unlikely that your parents will dig through them. You can hide them in there so you have access to them. Another thing, if you have a closet, like Moss said, you can hide them in a bag or just under some other clothes. One thing you can do is you can put like a shirt or a pair of pants on a hanger, and then you can put another bigger shirt or just a normal shirt over it to make sure they stay hidden.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I remember the thing that I was going to say. Along with the affirmations thing that Cora was talking about earlier, my awesome brain came up with a rhyme. It says, confusion is not delusion, and you're never faking your gender identity. A lot of the time, a lot also with people who are still like discovering themselves and their gender identity, it can be really difficult to have that negativity around you and not feel like you're not yourself. Even I had a semi-supportive household when I first came out, and my mom was always supportive, but my dad was obviously not. He was gone. But it was tough. I cut my hair, and I changed my clothes and everything. He thought I was a les, so that was fine. I was a trans man at the time, but I felt like I was faking almost every day. I felt like it was for attention. I felt like because there's so many other LGBTQ plus people coming out recently that I'm just hopping on the trend, even though I really feel like it's not a trend, and it's your authentic self. And if someone, and Judah said this to me one time when we were on a one-on-one, he said, I'm not changing, I'm just growing into my authenticity, and I hold that dear to me every day.
Another thing that parents don't always consider is the fact that they think you are changing you yourself. And one thing that helped me when my mom became more accepting was expressing, I am still the person you know, but I am growing into a more comfortable situation for myself. Or just phrasing it in another way, like letting them know, I am not changing who I am. I am changing my appearance. I am changing into the person I was supposed to be. Because there are like scientific and like non-scientific researches that have proven like this is a real thing. And it's always good to not listen to people telling you you're confused. It's against like their religion and stuff, because once again, you are free to express yourself. It doesn't matter what people tell you. You are not confused. You are not hopping on a trend. You know who you are. And if it takes you some time to figure that out, that's okay too. Um, Personally, for me, I figured out I was gay when I was in either elementary or in middle school. And I hid it for the longest time. And I had became so under the impression that liking girls and being a girl was not okay, that I ended up convincing myself that I was a boy who liked girls, so I would be straight, and just hoping like my parents would accept that fact. But after 2 years of identifying as a male and just not feeling comfortable with myself, I found out that I identify as a demigirl or gender fluid, however you want to put it, and that I prefer women. And that's okay. It will take some time, and you may not always feel comfortable with what it is. You don't even have to choose to put a permanent identity on yourself. You can choose like queer, you can choose an umbrella term as well. Just do what makes you feel comfortable, and it will take time, but eventually you will figure yourself out, and that's okay. You can take as much time as you need.
You know what? I was gonna say something, but I think we should end the question on that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, my big trans heart is just fluttering right now to hear you both speaking on this. I came out a lot later in life, like I said earlier, and I still had to deal with a lot of the things that a lot of you have to deal with. And one of the things that I said was to my parents was, I don't need to prove to you right now that this is real. Just give it some time and you'll figure it out on your own. And here we are 3 years later. Nothing has changed. I'm about to get top surgery and they're finally like, oh, okay. Yeah. All right. This is who he is. And it's been a long 3 years. It's hard to wait, right? It's hard to wait for people to get with the program and to get to where you are. And sometimes it's painful. Sometimes we don't care, right? Sometimes I'm like, I don't care if you agree or not, right? Like, I'm going to do me. And then sometimes I'm like, I really, really, really wish that you would agree with me and that you would see me the way I see myself. And it's this constant back and forth battle. But, I've had to do a lot of work, and it sounds like you all are doing a lot of work within yourselves as well to know your worth and to be comfortable with who you are, despite the challenges in the world, despite the challenges maybe with family and things like that. So it's really good to hear you youth talking about your process, and it's just I'm so grateful for this conversation. Yeah.
One thing I would like to add is times will get tough and you will be down, you will be angry, you will be depressed, you will be anxious. But it's always just good to remind yourself that you will get out of this spot. You will get into a better place and you will be able to identify as who you are. You may be thinking like you can't do that, it'll take so long, but the best advice I can give for that situation is to hold on. There's always going to be a piece of hope that you can just hold on to. And it's not good to focus all of your energy onto that piece. Make realistic goals as well if that one goal is not realistic. It's always good to like have multiple plans on what to do if things come up, if things go well, that kind of thing. Make sure you have a plan on how to get into a safer environment.
Right. That along with when that does happen when you get better after a depressive episode, whether that be like 30 minutes or literal months to years. I've been in the month scenario earlier this year, and around the beginning of April, I just I suddenly started to get just better. Like I was just happier and found a new aesthetic, found a new group of friends, and I was very confused, and I felt like I was on autopilot mode, even though I was fully here, you know. And what I'm saying is, if you're getting better after a long period of time of not feeling good, to say the least, it's normal. It's okay to have that sudden change, and it's okay to not know why. For me, it happened. I think I realized because I went to I visited my hometown in Vermont, and it was just really nice. But then afterwards I was like, this is really cool, and I was like, why am I getting better? Because previously I had experienced, like, just the month before, I had experienced like some horrible fucking trauma. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, I'm sorry. Some really horrible shit, and I was like just in, I think, the worst I've ever been, to be honest. And it just started getting better. I was really confused. I felt like I was faking it, and I felt like I needed to still be depressed because I wasn't doing anything different in my life to get better, and I just was. But being better still, I would like just to say that is entirely normal, unexpected sometimes, but you don't need a reason to be happy. You never need a reason to be happy. You can just be happy.
Yes. Oh, my heart is so full hearing that. That's right. You don't need a reason to be happy. I love that. So I am curious, what are some things maybe online that you've utilized to help support you? It's a whole different world than when I was young. We didn't have all of these cool things. We had like AOL Messenger, and that was awful. It was terrible. But like now there's, Facebook and Instagram and Discord and all these things. And, there's just a lot more access. So what resources have you utilized on the internet that have really given you the support you need?
Some people have very strict parents and their phones can be monitored, which makes it harder. So I have some for online and some for not online for safety reasons as well. Online, it's good to find a support group or just people who are in a similar situation, someone to talk to. That's a very important thing. Just having someone to talk to, or even something like a stuffed animal or a pet, just somebody or something to talk to can really help. Just being able to vent about what's going on and just kind of get it off your chest is a huge help. Having online friends is also a really good thing because you have people who will relate to you. You have people who can give you advice and tips and just help you get through that, because there will be people who genuinely care about you in this situation and will do their best to help you. If you're unable to go onto the internet, one thing I can recommend is just talking to a stuffed animal or a pet, like, once again, or even just a thing you care about. You can also you can also write it down in like a personal journal you can keep hidden, or just on a piece of paper that you can rip up and throw away. Like writing, like, I know it's such a typical advice thing, but writing something down on a piece of paper, tearing it up, folding it, crushing it, hitting it even, it can really help you get out those built up emotions, because that is a good thing as well. And I know this one probably isn't as safe and it's a little silly, but just even screaming or just crying into a pillow can be helpful, because sometimes you have to let it out. It's not good to bottle things up, and that is a very hard thing for a lot of people to take into control, because they're like, I need to stay strong and I need to, like, get through this. But it is okay to cry, it is okay to scream, to hit things. Like, it's always good to get out those emotions no matter what.
Yeah, I really want to stress the "it's okay to cry" thing, because even though I was not raised with any toxic masculinity in my life, I was raised as a girl, you know. I was, you know, I was never taught that it wasn't okay to cry. I was encouraged to cry from my mom. But still, with, like, even today, actually literally today, I there was a situation that I just had a meltdown about, like, actually a meltdown, and I felt like I just didn't have any other thing to do besides cry.
And that's perfectly okay. That is valid.
Yeah, and just like you don't need a reason to be happy, you never need a reason to cry. Sometimes it just gets built the fuck up and you just need to go. Just cry. You're not faking crying. If you make loud sounds that you don't mean to, you're not doing it intentionally. That's just how the body works.
Yeah.
You're doing great. It's okay to cry.
Yeah, you definitely want to get that stuff out when you can. Like, even like set reminders, write it down so you know, like, get out those emotions. Because when it does build up and you just go into a very bad state, that can also be hard as well. Some nights, even if it was a good day, or even if it was a bad day, or just a normal day, sometimes you just need to relax and just let out a few tears. Watch something that's sad, even, just to kind of help you get through it. Watch something relatable. Watch something happy. It's always good to make sure you get those emotions out, because if they build up, it can be a real stir of emotions.
Yeah, and for me, building on the whole distractions thing, that's been my savior, to be honest. Like, literally,
distractions is amazing.
Yeah. And recently I've had these amazing hobbies that I actually really like. My recent one has been knitting. There's a knitting club at my school that I go to, and it's awesome.
I
And
was knitting at a group.
It
I
is.
missed it, but yeah, I have yarn right next to me.
I did too. It's repetitive. It makes me feel very productive. And it's very simple. It is one stitch repeated until your heart's content. And I love that so much. I don't do it as a coping mechanism, because if I feel that it's a responsibility, I'm not going to do it. I don't know why.
Exactly. You want to do things.
I feel like I have to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Exactly.
But I do love to do it just as a mindless stimulant. Just having it both my hands occupied, I feel like I'm able to listen better.
And that's another thing. Just like, there's two things I want to say. Learning something new, or just doing something new, not for the reason to cope, but just to have fun and relax, is amazing. Like, if I look at my shelves, I have tons of activities. I have dirt bike helmets. I have an unbuilt RC car. I have art supplies. I have books. I have candy. I have, like, record players. I have, like, pine cones and stuff. I have tons of stuff that I can do when I want to, and it's not like I'm forcing myself to do it. On top of that as well, doing repetitive things as well, it can be good. If you do the same thing every single day, like just the same thing, you can get burnt out. And like, this isn't super related to trans youth, it's just kind of a personal tip, if that's okay. Just like having burnout can really affect your motivation and even your mental health, because I have been struggling with that. But yesterday I got some help from a very close person to me, and they helped me pick up my room, and it just made me feel like a whole lot better, because motivation, when you do the same thing over and over, can really go down with burnout, with school, or just even like with work. Doing the same thing over and over is just kind of a oh my gosh, it's just a method for unhappiness, really, because you don't want to be like a mindless robot just doing the same thing every day. It's always good to spice it up. Do something fun different days. You can do something the same like a couple days in a row, and that's okay. But always try to add something new to your schedule. Because with school especially, just like after going through the same day over and over and over, the same classes at the same time, it can feel really just tiring.
Yeah, for sure. And also, to speak to my like neurodivergent folks, or the folks who like repetition, even though that what Cora said is entirely true, it's also okay to go weeks at a time with a hyperfixation on knitting and do that every day for 6 hours.
Yeah,
That's okay, because it helps me calm down, and I've knitted 3 blankets.
that is also completely valid. I am currently hyperfixated on. It's gonna sound really stupid. I'm currently hyperfixated on the game South Park: The Fractured Butthole. I love it so much. I had a game where I was really far along, but I decided to restart and just make a new character. And the reason I like that one is because even in that game, there is tons of LGBT, trans, and even racial acceptance in that. And it's crazy because you can, at first, it does take some time to unlock those things, but you can like fully put in your thing. Like I put in, for me, oh my gosh, I put in homosexual, non-binary, femme girl. And I thought it was crazy how specific it could get. But that's just something I think was really cool in the game, having that representation. My current fixation is video games. And with your fixations, no matter who you are, whether it be games, clubs, like activities, you will sometimes, it's not always for sure, but sometimes you will lose interest in that thing from doing it over and over. But that's okay. It's something you enjoy to do. And if you need to take a break from it, that's valid as well. Having repetitive things that help you feel better is good, but always make sure it's not the one thing you do. Because for like a month or two, all I did was just sit in bed and play video games. And my room got so much like built up mess. I was in a really bad spot. Sorry. I had a hiccup. But I was in a really bad spot, and then just getting the support I needed really got me out of that. So now I'm doing more things a day. I work on my room for a bit. I go take care of some laundry so I can keep myself organized, and then I relax. I try to play different games, talk to friends, all that. So it's always good to like keep something different every day. And I do agree with Moss on the fixation thing. It's okay to have fixations. It's okay to do things like all the time. Like knitting. I wasn't knitting for like 3 days, and like I haven't knitted since. But like all that is completely valid. I totally agree with Moss, especially for neurodivergent people.
I love this, and I want to really affirm that like everything that you all have said in this conversation is getting to the heart of safety, right? Because taking care of ourselves is being safe. It's what keeps us safe.
Another thing I wanted to add is Moss had their cat. Is it okay if I grab my gecko for some reptile lovers that might be watching?
Oh my gosh, please do. I am so loving this.
I have a tortoise downstairs that I won't get, but I would just like to let everyone know.
And your tortoise is adorable.
His name is Greg.
So adorable. I love when Greg comes on.
So this little guy is named Link, and he is the best little guy in the world.
So cute.
He is amazing, and he has helped me get through so many things. He is 3 years old, and I named him Link, 1, because I love Breath of the Wild, and 2, he wraps his tail around my fingers and tries to hang upside down like a bat, which I find adorable.
Oh my gosh.
But I think having little animals on the stream can help a lot of people who just need something happy in their lives.
Yes. And again, this is what safety is about, right? Safety isn't just like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not being in dangerous situations or, you know, things like that. It's about taking care of our mental health, right?
As well,
Yeah. It's about like, even if the world around us is going to shit, that like we're mentally like okay enough to like get through our day and to be, like continue to be the people that like we want to be. And I think that's really important, especially for youth when we're talking about like, you know, keeping yourself safe. As you know, as the director of TQIC, like watching you all every single day go through life and have your challenges and have your joy and just like everything that I get to like be a fly on the wall to, you know, in the Discord channels or when you're talking to me, like it's so inspiring to watch you all grow and to watch you all really rally together as a community and take care of yourselves and take care of each other. You know, I've seen people go on there saying, you know, my parents did this, that, or whatever to me, and everybody rallies behind them. some of you have never even met each other, right? A lot of you actually haven't actually met each other in person, but the community that you all are building is just such a beautiful thing to watch. And I'm seeing firsthand how that is keeping you all safe, how important like that chosen family, that community, your animals. Half of our threads are you all posting your animals. And, you know, if somebody's sad, I know people get DMs all the time of like, here's a picture with me and my cat, or me and my gecko, or me and my snake, or me and my, you know, whatever. And it's those kinds of things that like bring smiles to people's faces and get them through, you know, another day, especially if it's a challenging day. So I love that so much. Okay, well, I actually don't have any more questions, but is there anything like kind of specific that you would like folks to know that you haven't already kind of gone into?
I would like to do a little proposal here. I say we all stay unmuted and just kind of talk about like issues and stuff. That way we can like come up with important things off the spot as well, because I think that would be helpful to some people.
Yeah.
Also, are people who are watching able to comment? Because I haven't seen any yet.
I'm not sure. That is a good question. If you're able to comment, feel free.
Comment section.
There is a comment section. Feel free to comment and ask questions if you have any. Yeah, we're more than willing, it sounds like, to answer, or if there's like something within this topic that like we haven't touched on that you want us to touch on, we can totally talk about that. But yeah, I'm just like I'm so jazzed that like you all have such like amazing strategies to like, you know, keep yourself safe and to take care of yourself. Man, I'm thinking back to like my youth, and I'm like, oh, I wish that I would have you know, had some strategies like that. Like that would have been. Oh, my dog just came in the room too.
Oh,
I wish I would have had some of those strategies. Like it's been really, really, really awesome to hear the things that you have to say.
Yeah.
I have to like straighten out my arm because my gecko's like trying to climb up to my elbow.
I love it.
I'm trying to think if there's anything I would like to say, because my brain isn't fully working today.
I feel like there's so many like things that I've just heard on the recently that's like good advice, and they're all jumbled together. And I can't
Exactly.
Yeah. Are there any like well, I don't know, do only old folks like me use Facebook anymore? Is it Instagram now? That's like the cool thing?
I have Facebook, but I don't use it at all.
Nobody uses
Yeah,
it?
same.
Wow.
I use like Discord and Instagram, and even Instagram I don't use that much. I'd say Discord because finding communities is a lot easier, like with Discord or just getting invites, finding people with similar interests. It's way easier because it is a huge platform. There's almost interest for everything. Another thing with being online is, and yes, this is so stereotypical and like so often said, but staying safe is important when you're on the internet because there can be some bad people. Unless a friend, and even then you should be safe, unless a friend knows them well or you know them pretty well, talk to them. A good thing to always ask, even if it feels a little uncomfortable, is make sure like how old they are, just to know for your own safety. Request calls if they are okay with it, but like always make sure to look out for red flags or anything that could possibly be dangerous. And I know it is so commonly said, but being safe on the internet is a huge thing you should do, especially being like trans, queer, and all that, because some people, and I don't mean to scare anybody, but this is reality, some people will like target kids or just people in those categories. So it's always good to like remain safe and look out for red flags.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I know, so like for TQIC, we verify everybody's age, and we verify in groups. Like we don't require folks to have their cameras on throughout like groups and things like that. But like if you're new and we've never seen your name or your face,
it is like a first time request thing.
Yeah, let's just see for a second, right? And
but
that's
let's just make sure you're not a weird person.
Right. My tagline is always like, can you just turn your camera on for just like a second so I can verify you're not a 40-year-old man, right? Like, and it's a joke, but it's also really serious, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it is. It's always good to go at in some situations. It's always good to go at some serious things in a lighter tone or even in a joking tone to just kind of make sure people don't get super scared. Of course, there are some things that do need to be addressed seriously, and humor is a good coping mechanism, but sometimes it's not always the best thing. Because I myself don't take a lot of um, dark humor is okay, but like some jokes about like actually very serious topics, like if someone's actually like genuinely joking about it, those kind of like make me uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, yeah. For me, it's like, well, obviously, ask your friends if they're okay with making those kind of jokes. But if they are, I'm so serious about this with dark humor. You cannot joke about trauma you have not had.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I hear people talk about that. Or even, and this is another huge thing, don't joke about races that you are not a part of. Like I'm mixed. I'm Mexican and white. But even I'm not I don't know Spanish, and I'm not exactly in my culture, and I don't say like the B slur or anything like that. Because like I didn't grow up in that culture, and I know I still technically have a right to it, but I always am safe. I don't try to make jokes about that kind of stuff. But it is something I would like to be a part of. And that's the same thing, like mixed queer youth and everything like that, or just a person of color as well. That can be hard as well, especially in the queer group. Like discrimination is going to be a thing that we all have to deal with, and it completely sucks, but it's just how people are. And I know that's not always the best thing to hear, but once again, just kind of remembering like you are valid and everything, that's okay. And you always want to make sure you stay safe, but
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah. There's been a lot of stuff on the internet that I've experienced firsthand and secondhand from my friends, especially on Discord, beloved.
It's a love-hate relationship, right? Like
The source of half my trauma.
yes.
Dude, like I love Discord because like this like all my friends are in there, but swear to God, I don't join public servers anymore that I don't know are 100% safe. I joined a server for autistic people recently, and I joined that only because I followed the Instagram page that promoted it for a year. I have talked to them before. I know that they're safe and that they wouldn't promote something weird. And so I joined it, and it was exactly that. It was safe and awesome, and everyone was somewhere on the spectrum or questioning, and it was really cool to see that kind of community. I've joined a different autistic server that I just looked up on Discord, which is like a place where you can find servers.
that is also recommended. You can look up tags and anything.
Yeah,
it's
recommended. It's recommended if you're willing to leave directly after, because half of them are jokes, half of them are jokes. Ableist, racist, sexist, LGBTQ phobic. So much is wrong with it. And anyone, I hate to say it because it shocks fear in everyone, including me when I say it, but anyone could be lying to you.
Exactly.
And I hate that.
And it's good to be cautious and anxious about those things, but don't let it control you. Don't let it scare you into not like trying to reach out and find things. Always be aware, but like don't let the anxiety or the cautiousness just kind of like turn you paranoid.
Don't. It's hard to keep that balance.
It is, but
and to be honest, if that's something that's like hard in the sense that like you can't keep it up, just drop Discord for a minute. Just focus on yourself instead.
I need to drop TikTok because I Oh my god.
Those self-care breaks from
Yes.
social media are so
It
important.
is, and it's so commonly said, take a break from social media. And
Yes.
it's like so like straightforward and known. So do it. That's the whole point of the advice. Is it's so obvious and straightforward and said so much because it's true. And people don't want to do it because they're like, nah. But like, do it, you dummy.
I would like to add to that. Self-care breaks from social media does not mean go take a shower and drink water and take a run.
Exactly.
Self-care means get off the app and do something else. Anything else.
Delete it. Like delete it for like a
Really?
month, a week.
You don't even have to delete it. Just like put
Stay
it
off.
away. You know?
I do recommend deleting it because sometimes it's like
I need to.
a little break is okay, and then it's like, but deleting it can't help.
I'm one.
Toxic for yourself.
Yeah, I'm one of those people who needs to delete it. But I'm looking at the time and I'm just, I'm so happy that we had this conversation. I appreciate you both so much. Like, this has been a wonderful conversation and I have learned so much, and I'm hoping to be, a better person giving direct service to youth like yourself, and also just a better parent and a better, ally, and not even an ally, but like an advocate and a friend and a mentor. Like, I really appreciate all of your wisdom. Thank you so much. Let's take it out with like our last comment.
Is it okay if I tell like a small experience I had on Discord?
Yeah.
Okay, so there was two instances. One, do you guys know the Reddit thing, like r/nice guys, like the fedora stereotype and stuff? Do you guys know that? Yeah. I encountered one of them on Red Dead.
No.
I really do not recommend joining a Red Dead Discord, especially a main one. Maybe your friends could make one, but do not join a main one because I had a nice guy bugging me for like 30 minutes. I was roasting his ass, but
This
That's
is
so funny.
See, keeping each other safe. This is how we do it. Passing along that info.
And another instance I had. This was also in the Red Dead server. I left both of them, just so you know. There was a guy who was lying about his age. He was 19, and he was saying he was autistic, but he wasn't. It was found out that he wasn't, and he was faking it. He was trying to befriend younger. Younger girls on the Red Dead server because it was a safe server. The minors and the adults were separated because there were specific tags, and they do check everything. But he was like a very trusted person to the previous owner, but the previous owner left and someone else took over. So no one was able to verify him, so he changed it. And I'm really thankful that I figured this out because he started asking, like, it was like, he seemed nice and everything. He helped you out on the game. And I just want to say his username. His username was Darth Bowser. So, yeah. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
No.
Oh, I thought you knew because you were just like,
nope, just safety.
No, I was just like, all right, we're releasing that information to the world.
yeah, just so you can like look out for him because he is on a lot of Red Dead servers.
Well,
Thank
yeah,
you
I relate to that.
I know it's not good to release information, but I do want to keep people safe because he has done it to multiple people. But thankfully, I talked to someone. I like let them know because he started asking like really, really bad questions, and I just blocked him on everything to make sure I was safe. And then I let someone in the server know, and a lot of people, and this made me feel so happy. A lot of people came out about him making them feel uncomfortable, and he was banned. He was reported. As far as I'm aware, his account was taken down. So just like being able to stand up about that and like have that person like not be able to do that to anybody else, that made me feel really happy because I probably just saved a lot of people, and that's just something I wanted to share. It's good to stand up.
Yeah, I love
Moss, take us out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do an entire outro. I just wanted to say like this was really lovely, and for anyone watching, I really hope that this lifted your spirits in some way, or at least
Feel it anyway.
educated you in some way, or made you feel safe for a short amount of time. I was having the worst day of my life, and this made it so much better. I'm not looking forward for tonight. There's something happening, but I'm a lot happier, and my cheeks hurt from smiling, and I hate it hurts.
I love that. Well, thank you all so much for joining us on this kickoff to the National Trans Visibility March. I'm so excited to have been, able to bring this to you all, and spend this last hour with you all. So thank you, and stay safe, everyone, and check out your, all of the activities and things going on throughout the next couple of weeks for the march.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
We are here because we're tired of being unemployed and underemployed. We are tired of only having to engage in sex work. We are tired of being your outreach people and your peer navigators making $10 to $12 an hour. We are tired of fighting for our country on foreign soil and then being told that we are no longer fit to serve. We are tired of our murders going without any justice and our murderers out there free. We want to be free. And that's why we are here.